Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, madam. Ravikant here.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. I am there, sir. I've just muted myself thinking I should not disturb anything.
Ma'am, Shanmugh Sundaram sir going to join at 2:40, means sharply by 2:50, likewise.
Yeah. Let sir come and he can check and put his screen also on sharing, ma, so that we all can talk like what we did in the morning.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
That will be better, right? So let sir come and then we can, on the side screen, our things will be displayed anyway and we can speak.
Definitely, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now anchoring is going to be by Manasa. Yes, ma'am. She is the one who is going to anchor for this session.
Okay,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon. So as soon as sir comes, we'll help him to set up the screen and we'll, as usual, we'll do like what we did in the morning.
Okay.
Definitely, ma'am.
Okay, right.
Good afternoon, sir. Namaste.
Sir, you need to unmute yourself, sir. Lekya?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Sir's audio, ma. Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Lekya, your picture is not visible, ma. Can you just see
Yes,
the light?
ma'am. There is a
Yeah.
power cut in our place, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
So
You can use the mobile light or something like that to
yes,
just.
yes, ma'am.
Oh, power shutdown. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, you can share your screen, sir. We'll set it up so that we can start, sir.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 minute.
No problems.
I don't know why this CRISPR is coming.
Yeah, it's coming, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, that's something else. So screen sharing has been stopped.
Screen share. May I share for you, sir?
Yeah, I don't know. The screen's sharing. Now it says share. Okay, yep. Yeah. Can you people see that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go for the full screen, sir. You can click on the full screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all, sir. It has come.
Okay.
Dear Manasa,
If you are ready, you can tell me. I can start.
sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Yeah.
Manasa, could you please start, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Manasa Mitta. It gives me immense pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Sri Vidyaniketan Degree College for second session of FDP on writing a research proposal for funding agencies and hands-on training in advanced research tools. May I request Honorable Principal Dr. D. Ashalata ma'am to introduce second session of FDP.
Good afternoon. It's real pleasure to be part of this session where we are going to listen to very esteemed Professor Shanmugasundaram sir on his very resourceful talk on how to write a very good research proposal for the funding agencies. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and blessing our FDP. It's really a great kind of an initiative for us, like we have started right now. Our young coordinator who has taken so much of effort to actually organize this program, and all the student volunteers who are working so tirelessly to see, like, we have to have these kind of programs and think very positive during the pandemic. So we are happy, sir, to have you with us here today. And we are really, as I told you, we are very blessed and we are honored with your presence. Like, we are very thankful to our management, our respected and revered chairperson, Dr. Mohan Babu sir, and very inspirational CEO, Shri Vishnu sir, for approving all our arrangements and giving us an opportunity to host this online FDP. So this today, I think it's a great moment actually. Like, you know, we have a lot of teachers joining us for this session, and they are very much interested in the research. So when we have so much of gaps, you know, sir, like, you know, in the productive research, in what is happening right now in the circles, many of us, we are taking up research, qualitative, quantitative, but at the end, when we see it, there is no proper end productive, no result oriented research where we are, you know, trying to put that into use for the public or for the, you know, the domain of the public use. So most of the researchers now, which is very good to see, sir, like, you know, in my network also, that they want to contribute for the country or contribute for the society, contribute for the human exclusive human development. So that's a good thing that we are seeing in the children right now. And many young researchers, they want to learn a lot of ideas and, you know, take a lot of opinions and suggestions from respectable people like you. So like when we have agencies like UGC or NBHM or RUSA or ICSSR, whatever it is, scientific or non-scientific research funding agencies, many of the faculty, when they're applying for them, they are not able to get the proper research, you know, proposal done, or they don't have a guidance that how they have to write or how they have to apply. Say for example, I have been a principal for quite some time in the colleges. So when we were applying for DST or DSIR or ICSSR, or maybe sometimes, you know, for the NBHM also, sir. So even in spite of our faculty being very qualified, we could not get through the process, because when we went for the reviews and all, we could not finally impress the logical questioning done by the reviewers, or we were not, like, you know, not exactly, you know, able to impress them. Maybe in some cases we got through, but some cases there were, you know, kind of hiccups that we were not able to, especially when it's government funding agencies. They are very clear about the reviews, and they are also, like, you know, funders agenda as they call. No, sir, we were not able to meet that. So as a principal, I used to accompany the faculty, go and sit with them, with the principal secretaries in the secretariat, and it was quite a good experience, learning experience. But I think when very, you know, knowledgeable person like you shares with us few secrets of how to actually write a very good research proposal, sir, I think that will be very helpful for the teaching fraternity, and hope we'll apply for very good research projects in the future with your blessings, and take the research to a very productive level. That is what India needs right now. And I hope all our children will get into that very seriously in the course of the time. Thank you so much, sir. And
Thank you.
we are waiting for your session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall I start?
Sir, I used.
I
Monica
request.
to-
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can just speak a few words, man. Sir will start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I request our FTP coordinator, Dr. Charles Leke Priya ma'am, Assistant Professor, to introduce today's eminent resource person. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are honored this afternoon by the presence of Honorable Guest Speaker, Professor Shanmugasundaram, sir. Sir is currently working as Scientist Emeritus, Department of Biotechnology at Sri Shakti Institute of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. Sir served as Assistant Vice President in Reliance in 820 project for 6 years from 2011 to 2017. He served in various capacities for more than 3 decades in Madurai Kamraj University. Professor S. Shanmugasundaram sir, as a principal investigator, completed several DST, DBT, and industrial projects. Sir did his master's degree from Madras University and obtained doctoral degree from Madurai Kamraj University. Sir served as coordinator for several programs, and he was nominated by Government of India as nominated scientist in the Indo-USA Collaborative Research. He was awarded with 3 patents and filed 7 patents. Sir publications list is huge in high impact factor journals. Sir worked as a associate project director for 8 centers all over India for technology development of biofertilizer, blue-green algae, Government of India. Had it not been a webinar, you would have heard non-stop applause for some time. His collaborations with USA and other countries also helped researchers throughout the world. I consider myself extremely fortunate to read your profile, and all the participants are lucky to listen to your talk. I'm sure your experience will immensely benefit the participants. Despite your busy schedule, you have accepted to be the resource person, and on behalf of our organizing committee, I thank you and welcome you, sir, for today's session.
Thank you, ma'am. I deem it an honor to invite today's esteemed resource person, Professor S. Shanmugasundaram sir, to enlighten us about the topic writing good research proposal for getting grants. After listening to all your experiences, I'm sure faculties will get sufficient funds to support the research scholar. Over to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon all. So anyway, I will try to present what is called as how to write a good proposal. So perhaps, I will go through a series of discussion points. And in the end, if people want to ask questions, perhaps, I'm pleased to do that. The contents of my talk of this day is going to be what is a project proposal. I mean, let's try to understand that. And why write a project proposal? And components of the project proposal, the do's and don'ts in the proposal writing. So, as your principal was saying, the competition in India is very high. There are 3,000 engineering colleges. Okay, there are something like 300 universities. And the money in government of India is limited. So India is not investing a lot of money in education as much they invest money in automobiles or other sectors. So the do's and don'ts are very important. And if you want to be very successful in getting a grant, see, writing a project, a proposal, anybody can write. The question is why to write. Anyway, we will see that. So what is a project proposal? This is nothing but outlining the ideas, whatever one has. The first question is there a specific objective? Many times you write a proposal without a specific objective. Now, the most important point, are you trying to solve a problem? Have you taken a problem which is a serious issue in this country, and is it that you are making a proposal to solve the problem? Either the proposal should solve a problem or it should develop a product. So if you are not taking an interesting or a challenging problem, I will give you an example of that. Today, microplastic. So we were throwing plastics everywhere. And one day it all got disappeared. We thought plastic is gone. No, they are all micronized and you don't see it, it's there. It's there in the water, it's there in the soil, it's in the air. So you are getting it back. So the microplastic is a perennial existing problem. Now, are you taking a problem like that and then say you want to provide a solution? Then, the government is interested. Or do you want to make a product? For example, can you make a bacterial robotics? So today, everybody is excited the moment you say artificial intelligence. Or you talk about robotics. Can you really make biorobotics? So in other words, if your project proposal is not solving a problem, or if it is not making a product which is needed, important for the society, then the chances of getting the project is less. And then when you make a project proposal, what is the anticipated result? Are you sure what is the result you are expecting out of the project? Are you sure about that? You can't say, I do not know what is the result. I have to do it and see what happens. Now, that kind of a project, who is going to give their money or who is going to invest their money? And project proposal should answer the following questions. What are they? Is the problem sufficiently important? You cannot simply say isolation of some organisms from soil, or studying some birds, or studying some trees, or studying some local issues. Who is going to give money for it? So you have to justify. See, you are asking for a taxpayer's money in the form of a project grant. So, unless and otherwise you have taken a problem, which is really important. Now, can we talk about how to get a potable water or how to purify water? Is it possible at every household level? Then, if you say you are making a biofiltration, because whatever filtration is available today, we do not know how good they are. Can you make a new filtration technology? Now, can you make a viral free water? Today, everybody is running from pillar to post because of COVID-19. And COVID-19 is in the air, COVID-19 is in the water, COVID-19 is also in the food chain. Now, let us take water. How do you remove COVID-19? Do you have a technology or do you have a solution? If you make a project today, now I know how to filter COVID-19 from drinking water, then the problem is important. And you can justify the money and the time and the effort. So that's what it means. Is the project well defined? Do you know, okay, taking an important problem like filtering virus from the water is an important problem. But have you defined how are you going to do it? Do you really know how to do it? Or is it emotional? You are giving an excellent topic, but then you do not know how to do it. Okay. He says something you want to do it. Is it realistic? Can you do it? It's the next question. So have you outlined a sound approach? Next question is, including your ability to perform a task. Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the expertise? See, you are willing to work for a project. You are willing to work. But the question is not that. Do you know? Do you have the expertise to do it? If you do not have the expertise, you are going to learn something, then the investment people will think twice, right? Because there are others who claim they know how to do that. So what is a project proposal? It's a selling document. You are trying to sell a proposal to a funding agency, and they must be in a position to buy it, right? It's not simply writing something on a topic like an assignment or like a review article and then send it and say, why don't I get money? I mean, in competition, it doesn't stand. Do you influence the decision makers? See, a project will be reviewed by a committee of 12 to 14 or 15 people. It should go round 1, 2, 3, and 4. Have you impressed the screening committee member in round 1? Are you influencing the first round committee member so that he thinks it should go to the second round? So your project should be written in such a way, it should influence the decision makers. So you should convince them through writing, because many times, round 1, 2, and 3, you are not going to basically present it. Your project should speak. You should write a project which should speak. It should convince in such a way that review members will try to put that time, and also the agency will try to give the money and then give a specific support. Okay. What is a winning proposal? A winning proposal should address these following questions. What is it? Are you an innovative person? Do you have an innovative idea? Do you have an idea which others do not have? Well, then it's taken seriously. Have you expressed clearly the methods that you are going to use to pursue the idea? Maybe you have an excellent idea. Fine. How are you going to achieve it? So the whole argument here is, it's not that just having a wonderful idea, but then you should impress the committee that you have the knowledge, you have the expertise, you are capable of really executing the idea because you have very clearly well-defined methodology to achieve it. Now, the next question is, why write a proposal? I mean, it's a very general question. One thing, as a researcher, as a scientist, you want to inform all your colleagues that you are working in this particular field and now you are making a proposal and you want to do a particular kind of research. Sometimes, you have to satisfy the college, satisfy the industry, satisfy the organization that you are writing a proposal and you are looking for a grant. Okay. A project proposal is much like a business plan. The principal was telling in the beginning, see, let us look at the Indian condition. I am in this field of DBT, DST, and all fund-giving agencies for nearly 3 decades. Now, tell me honestly, how many products we have today in the market? We don't know. We can't say how many we have. So that's a challenge. So it should be something like a business proposal. It should be a business model. Then you apply for a grant. What does that mean? You are asking for other resources to achieve the task, achieve a particular goal, or achieve the result of a particular project. And then you are seeking support from other organizations. See, you're writing a project, just getting support, either financially or otherwise. And then to explore the causes of a problem and clearly define next steps in solving that problem. So again, I'm repeating, you have to take a problem which is important, which is socially relevant, which is a big issue in the country, like pollution, like accumulation of waste, like water, potable water, because we do not know if drinking water is free of heavy metals. We do not know whether our drinking water is free of viruses. We really do not know if drinking water has other pesticides, other toxic compounds. So these are all important problems. So are we taking a problem which is very important, relevant to the society, and also the government wants to really get a solution so that the people will be happy. So when you make a project, of course, you have a cover page, which gives the institution information. And whenever you make a title, it should not be more than 15 words. It should be simple, short, sharp, precise, and expressive. You cannot write a paragraph as a title. People will think you're not sure what you want to do. Of course, you put the author's name and you put the date of submission. So what are the components of the project proposal? Always ideas, ideas, and ideas only. You have a cover page. You have to write an introduction. What is an introduction? It's not simply cut and paste. You know why today many of the projects are not funded? They simply because of in an era of informatics, you have so much of information available in the net, and you know how to handle the net. You know how to handle the computer, laptop. What do? Cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. So people think, you are not written any, you are not really introduced the problem. Are you really reading the literature and writing on your own? Are you defining a clear-cut history? Are you defining the problem? What are your objectives? You justified all these objectives. Now, whatever intervention or design and strategy, do you have a design and do you have a strategy which you want to use it in achieving the objective? Do you have clear-cut definition of activities? What are the various activities you will do? And have you given the timeline? Of course, if you done a good job for all these things, you go to budget. Then people will always ask, do you have or have you really given evaluation indicators? Now, what is this evaluation indicators? What is that you are going to achieve in 6 months? Can that be an indicator? Can you give a clear-cut indicator? In 6 months, you can see that I achieved this. What is that I am going to achieve in 12 months, 18 months, in 36 months and 48 months? You cannot precisely say what you can achieve once in 6 months and you expect somebody will fund you in lakhs and crores. That's not going to happen, right? You have to be very clear in evaluation indicators. Of course, you give bibliography and text. Okay. Now, what is an introduction? The historical antecedents of the problem and the current situation. What was the problem? Suppose you are talking about plastic. Plastic is a problem for the last 30 years. That's the history. Now, what is the problem today? Today, the problem is not plastic. Today, the problem is microplastic. Today the problem is nanoplastic. Today, the problem is how to remove them. Today, the problem is the microplastic is in the ocean. Today, the problem is the fishes are eating it. Today, the problem is microplastics are in the pond. So it is everywhere. And you are buying fish. You are buying prawn. What is that you are eating? Not prawn, not fish, microplastics, nanoplastics. So that's the current situation. So we cannot talk about plastics anymore and include the results and findings of related preliminary studies related to the problem, either national, international. Suppose you are saying, I know how to degrade plastic. See, everybody want to degrade plastic. Everybody want to write a proposal. Now, what is the information we have today in plastic degradation nationally and internationally? And then what is that you are giving an approach and how that you define that what is your way of attacking the problem in degrading the plastic. And today I will give you an information. There are countries in the world where they have designed synthetic enzymes which will degrade the plastic. So plastic degradation or microplastic degradation. Plastic degradation is not a story or it's not a fiction. So are you aware before you're making a project? And then if you give a methodology, the review will say, look, already this university in Norway, this university in Sweden, this university in USA has already done it. What is that new you are going to propose? You have to be very clear. Objectives. Now there is something called as SMART objectives. What are the SMART objectives? Are you specific in your project? Are you giving methodologies and results which are measurable? And is it realistic? Is it achievable? You can give a specific problem. You can even give how to measure it. But they will think, oh, you are working in this place. You have no equipments. You are working in this place. Where is the knowledge? You are working in this place. Where is the expertise? Then they will wonder, how are you going to achieve it? You are emotional. That's okay. Are you capable? So that question is always there. And then, of course, it come to the relevance. Unless and otherwise, it is socially relevant. Today, funding is not possible. So let us be very clear. And it must be time bound. You cannot say, I will solve the problem in a period of a decade. I mean, nobody is going to fund. Okay, so SMART objectives, one should remember how to really do it. Now, what is specific? Let us see one after the other. What do we mean by say specific? Use a specific example of a problem. Don't talk about it. Don't use a generalized language. Don't play with English. Don't play with vocabulary. That is not smartness. See, the reviewers have done the same thing. So, clearly state the issue. Let it be simple, straightforward, make it clear. And then you precisely say it is going to target to which group. Are you talking about, let us say, drug discovery? Now, are you talking about a drug discovery for diabetic people? Or are you talking about a drug discovery for a heart patient? What is the target group? To whom you think your research is going to be beneficial? Is it for the children? Is it for the young people? Is it for the adult? Or is it for the old people? Is it pediatrics, geriatrics, or adult? So that has to be clearly defined. The time and place of the program. Is it measurable? What is measurable? Be clear in the objective about what will be changed and how much. By this research, by these results, what is the change I'm expecting? Let us say measuring glucose in diabetic people. Let us say there are glucose meters. Now I want to make a better meter. Now, what is the technology I'm going to follow for that? Or what is the methodology? Now, by my new thinking, new method, what is the change the consumer will get it? Or what's the benefit he will get it? Then using an existing machine. Setting this clearly at the start, you make it clear in the beginning of the objective itself, then it makes it easier for people who want to evaluate your project. Okay. And what is achievable? See, always we use the term, is it achievable? Be realistic about the program. Now, suppose someone says, I want to convert an insect into a robot or a drone. Can I make biological drones? Which is very interesting, because if you send a drone to monitor something, these are all unmanned small flying objects. But people will see, because it's not small in size. Anybody will see, everybody will understand there is a drone flying in their region. Now, what people are thinking today, can I take big insects like Oryctix rhinoceros, which is a coconut beetle, which is large in size? Can I put a chip on the insect? So as and when the insect flies anywhere, it can pick up the signal. So it's a very interesting project. It will certainly be much better than the normal drones. But if I propose it, if I do not have the expertise of making a nano chip, or I have no expertise in artificial intelligence, I have no expertise in deep learning or deep machining, it's not realistic. I mean, I want to make a project proposal, but nobody will fund me. They will say it's not realistic. This guy do not have any of the expertise. Now, can it be achieved in terms of scale and scope? For example, somebody was introducing me that I was doing a lot of biofertilizer research. And we wanted to really apply the biofertilizer for 5 different states: Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana. Now it's a big scale. Now, if you want to achieve that, do you have the network? How many people are involved? And what are the various places? What is the control they have on the farmlands? Can we really do that? So the scale and the scope should be easily convincing to the funding agency. And what could be done in a given time and the resources available. So there was a very simple question. Can we increase the yield of rice by 10%? No, I mean, this is a very interesting problem. We want to increase food production. We want to increase rice production. And is it really possible to increase the production of rice by 10%? So what is the time? Suppose I say I can achieve it within 3 years. And whatever resources I have, the question is it realistic? Is it really achievable? No. What is the relevancy here? Objectives need to relate and be relevant to the goals. So whatever I say in the objective, that must eventually achieve the goal. For example, I want to achieve increase rice production, let us say in Andhra, by another 10%. How am I going to achieve that? Have I said it clearly in my objective? Am I going to use a hybrid rice? Am I going to use organic manuring? Or am I going to increase what? I am going to do what? So the goal is to achieve increase in rice yield. Do I have my objectives clear? That's what is relevance. Remember, objectives are the building blocks, steps toward meeting the goals. For example, my objective is just irrigation. See, suppose I make a project for Andhra. By increasing irrigation, I am going to get more rice. People will laugh at me because irrigation is not a problem there. You have perennial rivers. So my objective should be clear and focused, and then it should convince the funding agency that I will achieve the goal of increase in food production, right? So time specific. See, time specific is very important. Be clear in the objective about the time frame. Suppose I talk about hybrid rice. Now, what is the time specificity here? Suppose the rice takes 6 months and I cannot do 2 crops. It is season bound. So I can grow only 1 crop. So if I want to really make sure that whatever intervention I have done, that is realistic, true, dependable, trustworthy, I have to do 3 trials. That means I need minimum 3 years. Imagine in one of the years there is a drought or there is a flood. So I need minimum 4 years. So if the time I'm defining, if I'm not clear, if I say I will try to achieve increase in rice production in a project of 2 years, people will think, in which program again, whenever you write a project, you write different segments. And whenever we talk about time specificity, in which segment you are going to achieve within a year, in which segment you are going to achieve within 2 years. So that has to be clearly defined. Will it bring a definite change? Will it bring an expected change? Will that take place? Now, in terms of activities and timeline, specify if there is a project, if there are 2 or 3 investigators, who will do what? Have you defined it? You have to say investigator 1 will do these things. Investigator 2 will do these things. But you say investigator 1 has expertise. He has publications in this field. So because he has done work, he's an expert, he will take care of this particular section. An investigator 2, these are his expertise. So like that, you have to precisely define each investigator, what is his expertise, what he will precisely do, and When? Timeline. So always you have to say when exactly that particular task will be completed. And then you have to define here the methodology, how you are going to accomplish that particular task. Why you have selected a particular pathway, or why you have selected a particular methodology. You have to precisely say that. In many times, they ask if your methodology failed for unknown reasons. Do you have an alternate methodology? Do you have a backup? So you have to define that also. How long each activity will take? Always they have the question when you are going to really complete it. Of course, then you come to budget. Ask for what you need to do the project. See, sometimes, I want to buy a fluorescent microscope. I like it. I want to buy it. This is my lifetime ambition. So the project which I propose, I put a fluorescent microscope, which is totally irrelevant to the project. But I want to buy a gas chromatograph. So I put that in the project where there is no need. So you have to ask money and equipment which are just needed to complete the project work. Justify the request. Okay, otherwise the funding agency will again think twice. Develop a budget explanation. Delineate clearly how the budget figures were arrived at. How you have reached this figure. Asking 1 crore. How do you reach that 1 crore? Now, what are the evaluation indicators? Clear objective lead to an evaluation plan. If objectives are clear, it is easy to evaluate. How are you going to know you accomplished what you set out to do? Can you evaluate the project by yourself? Can you say whether you have achieved the target within a year? Whatever you wanted to achieve, have you achieved it? Is there an indicator? Right? It's not simply, I'm happy that, okay, I've done it. No. Are there clear-cut indicators? And then choose the indicators that will tell you whether or not you achieved your goal and met the objectives. So evaluation indicators are nothing but clear-cut indication, achievement markers in a time scale, and then whatever is your objective, whatever is your goal, are you achieving towards the goal using the objective in a time frame using single or a collaborative expertise. So this has to be precisely and clearly defined. Now let us see what is very important in the whole of this kind of an argument. Do's and don't. What you should do. We will see it now. What you should not do, I will show you in the next slide. What are the do's? Innovative. The project should have innovation. If not invention. Invention is next stage. Are you innovative enough? Relevant. Are you making a proposal which is relevant to your district, or relevant to your state, relevant to your community, or relevant to the whole country, sometimes relevance to the whole world? But what is the relevance? Proposal demonstrate expertise. See, expertise is something people will look for. Then is it feasible? Show the enthusiasm in your writing. Develop writing skills. What you write should speak for you in your absence. So that's absolutely important. Make it simple, straightforward language. Don't put it in a way which people find it difficult to understand what you are trying to say. Is it research based? Okay, logical models. There are something called as a logical model. A logic model is a widely used tool that presents specific details of the program inputs, activities, and outcomes, and shows generally how they are related. Logic models can be very helpful in organizing and summarizing your information. So it's better. There are many tools available today. One such tool is logic model. So if you follow that, that will really help you. Don'ts, what you should not do. Project does not address priorities. Study in this mountain. Study in this valley. Studies on this river. Studies in this soil. Studies on those trees. Studies about this bird. I mean, there is no priority for all these things in India. Ideas are not clearly presented. If you're not clear, you are not going to make a presentation clear. Ideas are not backed up by statistical research. It should be backed up by statistics. How many people have given results in that particular area? Don't use jargons. See, jargons never get projects, right? And sometimes you are over ambitious. If your project only deserves 20 lakhs, for 1 crore. So the agency thinks you are not at all realistic. Narrative and budget don't correspond. Now, what is your problem you have taken? What are your objectives? The way in which you describe that you are going to do it. And then you ask for a huge money. They say, look, they don't correspond to each other. The worst thing, you describe a project which has been already done. If not in India, it has done in Taiwan, done in Korea, done in Philippines, right? Done in Nepal. What is that you are going to do the same? I mean, the people will say, come on, this is already known. Okay, so I think till now, whatever I was saying is how best or how much we should really put our effort and how much we should be careful enough. You have to remember it's a competition. Okay, I'll give you anyway, I'll give the certain secrets in the end of the talk. I will now talk about the funding agencies and then how we can get the project. University Grants Commission is one of those funding agencies. So the nature of assistance they give, a quantum of assistance for a research project will be as under. Major research projects in sciences, including engineering, technology, then pharmacy, all those fields put together will give you up to 20 lakhs. So, and this commission will provide the financial support for the items. What are those items? They will give money for equipment, books and journals. You can, of course, hire a project fellow, or you can have some hiring services. They give you some contingency, chemicals, consumables, travel, things like that. So this is the major project. I will give you a very interesting thing, which is very recent. Now, many faculty are newly joined. So Government of India wants to encourage everybody who are a newly joined faculty. So they should get some money so that they can do some research. So this is what is called as a startup grant for newly recruited faculty. So what they say, all the teachers who are newly appointed at the level of assistant professor are eligible. Against the permanent post in the faculties of basic science, engineering or technology. Following the specified procedure of university, they will be eligible to receive financial support under this scheme. But the assistant professor should hold a PhD degree. Don't ask me, is it not an MSc can do research? Yes. Problem is there are so many PhDs who are not able to get money to do research. So unless we satisfy all the PhD, we cannot think of giving it to MSc holders. With a minimum of 2 publications, see, this is the problem. You may have a PhD degree. Have you published 2 research papers in an approved journal, a Scopus index journal, a journal which has citation index? If you're published in some college magazine or a city magazine or in some journal, paid journals, many UGC journals are paid journals. I mean, that's not counted. Okay. And the assistant professor should apply within a period of 1 year from the date of appointment. You cannot apply once 1 year is over. So the UGC provides at least 6 lakhs. So any newly joined faculty in the rank of assistant professor, if the candidate has PhD degree, if the candidate has published 2 papers from the PhD degree, right? When you do a thesis, when you work for doctoral degree, you will certainly publish papers. If you have published papers during your doctoral thesis work, if that 2 papers are in a very well recognized journal, then you will at least get 6 lakhs to begin with. So and then you can get a minor equipment for 1 lakh. Then you can ask for money for consumables, contingencies, field work, whatever. So one cannot now complain that I am not getting a grant. So all those here, see here we are not using all whatever I said in my previously about the outrighter project, things like that. This is an opportunity given to all the newly recruited faculty holding PhD degree on having published 2 papers in an accepted scientific journal of some quality and which is actually used for citation index purpose, right? So there are a lot of funding agents in India. One can't say I'm not able to get a grant. Now, what are the other funding agencies? You have Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, which is of late called as DSIR, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. So when I was applying for project, it was Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, but today it is department. There you will get grants up to 20 lakhs. You do have Indian Council of Medical Research, right? So ICMR do encourage people to apply for projects up to 30 lakhs, right? And you can always say a medicinal plant. You can always say that you have a new formulation. So there is an opportunity for people to apply for ICMR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research. So you have ICAR. So even ICAR is giving a lot of projects to people who are working in universities and other colleges which are not agricultural institutions. For example, biofertilizer. So you can imagine for the whole country, Madurai Kamaraj University was operating biofertilizer. It was not IARA. It was not agricultural universities. Why? Wherever expertise is available, wherever they can do it, the money is given, whether you are an agricultural institution or not. So ICR was involved, and in the Indo-US, I was in a basic botany department or a microbiology department. I was in a Southern Madurai Kamaraj University. I was the nominated scientist by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, who was then Prime Minister, with the Indira Gandhi Reagan Pact for Agriculture. How? So I'm not an agricultural scientist. I'm not an agricultural college. I'm not in agriculture universities, but they wanted the nitrogen fixing organism, how to improve them. So strain improvement needs a lot of molecular biology. Strain improvement needs a lot of knowledge and genetic engineering. So wherever it is available, the project will be given there. Okay. So ICAR is another agency, Department of Science and Technology. Anybody has an innovative idea, anybody has a novelty, anybody has a clear-cut problem-solving solutions, you can apply to Department of Science and Technology. There is a Science and Engineering Research Council, which will really go into these kind of projects. You can ask up to 70, 80 or even lakhs or 1 crore, provided it's a multi-institutional project and you are clear-cut with your objectives. Department of Biotechnology. So if you want to make a product, do you know how to make a product from a biological resource? And can you make a vaccine now? To give you an example, what project you will get in DBT? Can you make a COVID-19 vaccine? Do you know how to do it? They will immediately fund. You have the expertise to design a vaccine? Do you have an expertise to really do how to prime the antigen response? Can you really immunize? Can you show the immunization is possible? So now any novel idea, anything that today the problem is COVID-19. How many Indian scientists can really do something so that it will help the people? Is the issue, right? And there is also Ministry of Environment, climatic changes and natural. So you can also do ecology or ecological situation. I'm being a biologist. I'm giving examples, which is perhaps relevant to biological systems. Suppose somebody says, sir, I applied project. I have applied for UGC. I don't get it. I have applied for DSIR. I'm not getting it. ICMR, no reply. ICAR, no response. Now, what do I do? Go for funding for NGOs. You know, there is something called as a non-government organization funding. If you really come out with a problem relevant to the society, you can, as an NGO, you can register as an NGO. You can get even money from international funding agencies. So the key is not where money. Money is available all over. But have you taken a problem which is important, where you have a clear-cut objective and methodology, where you claim you have the expertise to solve it? Yeah, you can apply for a grant anywhere in the world. As a non-governmental organization, you have the right to attract the money, right? So, have you considered non-governmental organization for research funds? A lot of money is available there, right? I don't know how many of the people know that NGO is another interesting place to look for. Okay. I will introduce something very interesting. See, we have to really understand you are living in an era of informatics. We are not living in a classical time period. What is crowdfunding? I do not know how many of you heard crowdfunding. What is it? Should you consider crowdfunding for your next research project? See, you are not getting money from anywhere, but you want to solve a problem and you think you have the expertise. You think you can really do some good work, but you need money. Money is not available. Funding agencies, you have applied for a project, nothing happens. Now what? So what is crowdfunding? I will give you an example. The study of unraveling mystery of TB TDP-43. What is TDP-43? It's a versatile protein. It's a protein involved in what? Neurodegenerative disorder. So there is a problem of the neurons. There is a problem in the nerves. So there is a protein which is called as the TDP-43. People believe that that protein is really the reason why there are a lot of problems. Nobody funded this guy. One particular person thinks that he can do something for this problem, but then he was not getting any grant. So he wanted at least $10,000 to try out an experiment and see whether that is going to work or not. So what he did, he created a website. Once you create a website, you give the title of the problem. You give the abstract of the problem. You give the methodology which you are going to follow. And then you say, those who are interested to fund, you give them your account number. You give the project, not your personal account number, your project account number. And then ask people to invest. So from the public, from the crowd. Now this guy who started this problem, he created a website. He has defined what is the problem. He has given the objectives, abstract, and the methodology. You won't believe 85%, almost $8,500 you have collected within 3 months, right? So he has fixed the target like 3 months. Only 12 days are left for 15% more and eventually got it, right? So then the question is, should researchers switch to crowdfunding as a means to raise money and do research, right? So today with informatics, creating a database and creating a website and describing is not a big issue. Let us look very interesting examples of very significant crowdfunding. What are the other examples? A crowdfunding platform can help the project notice and eventually help researchers to get the required funds. There is more willingness now on the part of the general public to support scientific projects. For example, somebody wanted to do how to identify the leopards in snow leopards, Arctic and Antarctic. So what this guy has done, he simply said nobody is doing that, and it may be very interesting to do that such a kind of a project. Again, created what is called as a website, and then he put that he want to work with this kind of you know what he did? He created a website, he defined the project, given the objective. He simply said he will use a low-cost DNA test. So he will identify whether snow leopards are there in a given particular ecosystem or not by taking the snow sample and doing a PCR, a DNA field test. And he says, using this kit, if it gives a positive, that means the leopards are there. If it is not positive, you can say it's not there. In other words, if you know how to create a low-cost DNA field testing kit, right, you are not bothered about who is going to fund you. And then this guy, within no time, he got $4,400, and maybe it still continues. So in other words, what is that we are talking about? Securing grants for experimental projects through the conventional. Now let me compare what is the difference between this crowdfunding and the regular funding. See, securing grants from experimental projects through the conventional funding bodies, it is always tricky. not little. It is tricky. See, the problem, the referees, the committee members, see, they don't want to take any risk. See, you are coming with a total novel idea. See, they don't want to really fund it because they don't know it is going to work. See, you cannot all the time ask for, do you have the expertise? Have you published paper? See, anything new, how can you publish papers? Anything out of the box thinking, how can there be any collateral information? So normally, all these traditional questions, expertise, do you have published papers? Then only you can apply for a project. Then only we will give money. It is classical. So this is what happens in the regular funding agencies. They don't want to take risk. Additionally, since most grants need proof of concept, see, whatever you say, they will have, where is the POC? Do you have proof of concept? Is the experimental project, see, very little or no success? If you do not have POC, what's the rate of success? So they say no proof of concept, we can fund it. Whereas, look at the crowdfunding. See, in crowdfunding, conversely, crowdfunding never bothers, leans heavily, extremely on the experimental project you define. They don't care whether you have proof of concept, whether you have the expertise. For example, there was a project, should we use selfie in the cell phone or not to selfie? Because many people died. You know, they went into the hill, they went to the tip of the hill, both husband and wife, they wanted to take a selfie, right? Sitting in the edge, they never realized what is that they're doing. They were trying to take a selfie. There was a heavy wind. Both of them went into the bottom of the hill, died. Now comes the issue, should there be selfie or no selfie? And if it is selfie, where you want to do it and where you should not do it. Next is the interesting thing. How can scientists foster public trust on Instagram? Should we believe on Instagrams or ignore? So these kind of projects has already secured more than 58% of the funding, right? So also a study like assessing stress in migrant and minorities in US during presidential election. So another project, somebody wanted to see whether you can use cortisol for hairspray or not. See, look, you can apply for any project. You can come out with any idea which you think will impress the public, which you think will attract the attention of the crowd. There is a huge opportunity today, which we call it as crowd funding. I hope, okay. So now we will go to another interesting form of funding, which many of you maybe never really gone into the details, or where you never really thought that there is a provision like corporate funding. Now, what is corporate funding? Why will corporation fund your research? So people will immediately ask, whenever I say go and apply for an industry for a project, they will say why the industry should fund my project. A very interesting question. Why they should do it? Why industries or why corporations will fund projects for teachers in the university and colleges? Here are the reasons. What are the reasons why corporations are interested in funding your research? Number one, research funding can be considered as a corporate social responsibility. There is something called as corporate social responsibility, which is otherwise called as CSR. A CSR activities can lead to a positive public image. See, if an industry is giving funding to academicians to do a project, naturally the public will look at that industry. They will see, say, look, this industry is capable of encouraging research in the academic world. So the public image will go. And then there are many people who are investors. See, many of the industries, they have their own money and they get money from investors or shareholders. So the investors and the shareholders, many of them are socially conscious. So many people invest in industries as a conscious investor or a shareholder whenever the industry is capable of funding research. Okay. So to satisfy the people, the investor and the shareholder and the clients, the industries are always spending some money as a research grant. In fact, some investors specifically look at those kind of industries, right? So in fact, some investors specifically, those who take into consideration of the environment. So many investors are interested in protecting the environment and also participating in the social issues and also looking at the governance issue. So what these industries are doing, so these industries will invest project research money about the environmental issues, about issues concerned with the social problems, about the issues concerned with the governance. So industries do fund projects if it is concerned with environment or social issue or governance. Firmly believe that a company that has a strong CSR initiative will deliver better returns in the long term. This is how it works in the Western countries. And maybe the same thing is followed in India now. And research funding may fulfill. See, it's not simply that. You know, today what happens is government has insisted all the industries. Now government is telling an industry, you have to spend some money in research. Either you should have a research wing or you fund for project so that the academicians can do that research for you. Now this is a rule. For instance, in India, the Companies Act requires companies falling within certain categories to spend at least 2% of their profit. So they have to spend 2% of that profit in research activities. So they will fund academicians who will give projects which will interest the industry or which is socially relevant or which address a problem of the environment or even general management systems. They do fund. Companies do not have to spend it. Of course, there is no hard and fast. Spend it on universities and colleges. They can run their own research wing. But there are many industries where they fund the money. So the knowledge gained from this kind of research may be useful to the company itself for its own progress. Or maybe it satisfies the requirement of the government. So what they do support R&D efforts. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I have given some kind of an idea, the do's and don'ts in writing a project, and then why you must take a problem. See, don't apply for a project unless and otherwise you have identified a real critical problem. And then you say, this is the problem. What is the problem hypothesis? And then you say, what is already known? What has been for this kind of a problem? Has there any work done previously? What is the work or information available nationally? What is the information available internationally? And how the laboratories or scientists of the world have tried to solve this problem. what are the methodologies they have used, how they were trying to solve the problem. And now you say they were trying to use these methodologies, these protocols, these procedures to solve this problem, and the problem was not solved. The problem continues. Now, what is your idea? What is the objective of your proposal? What are the methodology you are defining? Why do you say this will work? Do you have any work done? Or do you have the expertise? Or you have an expertise along with you? So you give a novel approach. You say this is a perennial problem. People tried, they could not solve it. I have an idea. I can do this. I believe in a period of this, it could be solved. Now, how do I know my idea works? I clearly define what are the indicators of my achievement at every 6 months period. And I know that I am achieving what I am supposed to achieve every 6 months. So I am sure as and when I go along with the project, I will be able to achieve the goal. So the real aim of the project is to achieve the goal. Whatever problem which is a perennial, which has not been solved, now, am I really doing the right approach? Am I taking the money and then in a time scale of 3 years, am I really achieving it? If you have the clear cut model and then your clear cut indicators, you clearly define the objectives, you clearly define the methodologies, you clearly indicated your expertise or your co-workers' expertise. And then if it is real and true, a funding agency will think twice before they reject. That's point number one. The other issue is there are a variety of funding agencies today. It's not only government funding agencies. You can try with the government funding agencies. They have their own methodology of assessment. But there are also other agencies, international agencies. You can apply as an NGO. There are crowdfunding, which is new to India, very much common in US and Europe. India can also start trying it because we have so much of computer science and computer knowledge. It's not all that great and difficult to create a website and then to create a pay channel. And there are many industries today. They have to spend 2% of the profit in research, either in-house or giving it to others. So I think you would have got an overall idea of what is the real status of making a project proposal and what are the opportunities of funding you have. Anyway, I would stop here, and then if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge. Now it's time for question and answer session.
Yep.
Participants, you could unmute yourself, please.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, this is Dr. Nausheen Nazir from Squash Shalimar from Srinagar. I've basically I'm doing my research on in fruit science. Currently, I'm working on kiwi fruit. Sir, thank you for your beautiful presentation and for your lot of guidance. So, like, I want to just know that is there anything related to the women scientists? Do they have a particular share that has been or a particular percentage wherein they can apply solely as a female scientist without any competitor from the male side?
Yeah. If you go to Department of Science and Technology, there is a very specific promotion only for women scientist grant. right? In that, I don't think anybody other than a women scientist can compete.
But that is, so I have gone through that, but that is only for the for the scientists who have a break in their career, not for the regular faculty.
Yeah. See, they initially started with giving it to any lady scientist, and then they started. See, this is the problem. What happens is the committees, they keep changing their views and ideas. But technically, I think, this is, yeah, I mean, what if people can do it? Maybe some of you can write a letter to the secretary of DST, and then see, sometimes what happens is if there is no representation, if there is no clear-cut claim, then
Okay.
they don't really consider what you people should do. Some of the very qualified women scientists, see technically they talk about a lot. They say we will give you 50% or 33%, right? See, it's like a slogan, right? But then it has to be done, it has to be implemented, because there are so many women scientists, and they should have a separate channel. But the point is, if nobody is claiming or representing it seriously, it all started, I remember DST started this as an exclusive provision for funding women scientists. And I don't know why they changed it as scientists with the breakup service. I don't understand that.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah, you represented. I think it makes a point.
Uh, uh, Sorry, sir, to interrupt in between this question, but I want to add one line. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, sir. So, in Women Scientist Scheme, it is believed that you should have a fine approach there. Then only can a project is acceptable, because there is long line of projects, and to be in the top and to be for the to be selectable, uh, it is necessary to have a fine approach. What can we do? Means the okay, some persons may have approach there, but who do not have any approach, or only dependable on their fine work and hard work. So, what is the suggestion for such people?
No, I totally agree with you. See, uh, problem, India has its own problem. What happens is, I cannot tell the secrets of all this assessment.
Yeah, yes, yes, sir.
See, the issue is this. I used to sit in all committees. So I was a task force member for Department of Biotechnology almost for 20 years. See, the problem is the task force itself has 20 people. And these 20 people represent 20 states. So each task force member will recommend one project from his state. So it's all not fair. See, the problem is in our country, we had to learn that we have to go objective evaluation and come out of the subjective evaluation. But unfortunately, we are still following subjective evaluation. Even now, funding agency says they should give the money equally to north, east, west, and south, but that never happens, right? So, I mean, these are all the inherent problems of government funding agencies. The reason why I have projected crowdfunding, I have projected NGO, I have projected the corporate funding. See, in my opinion, anybody want to do research, he or she must be able to do it. I mean, that's a very minimum expectation. But unfortunately here, so what you can do, you can create a website. You define what is your objective. You say this is what you want to do. You will be surprised. There are many people in the world who have a lot of money, who like ideas, who want to fund and see some science is happening, right? So crowdfunding is a very popular methodology of getting money today in US. Because the same problem, even in US, everybody don't get money. Everybody don't get the project. See, the red tapeism will never leave any country in any government organization, right? This is unfortunate, but that's the reality. Most of the money for engineering, it goes to IITs only.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Why? As if other engineering colleges are useless. Why? Only IIT professors are in the committee. See, that the real issue is, there is no real representation. There is no real, I don't know how serious the entire architecture, but I think, your question is very valid. And I do feel that, we should invent another method. So that is why I was very specific here to present and explore of crowdfunding. All the women scientists can write to
Okay. Thank you so much.
DST, write to even PM.
Sir, I have one more question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, why is the format of the project submission so complicated? So complicated. Sir, it takes months to understand even a single line that what they really want, what kind of information they want. So why is it so complicated? Suppose we have to submit the project in the DST. The format is such that it is so difficult to even understand that what kind of an information they really want. Banda.
Yeah. I think, I totally agree with you. What happens is this. I mean, anyway, don't quote me outside. It's a system of elimination. Now, what happens today is not the system of identification. It's a system of elimination. You make the entire protocol complicated. Many are eliminated at that stage. See, what happens is, let me be clear. When I'm in such committees, they say they can only fund for 10 projects. That is all the money they have. But we had 3,000 projects. Now, from 3,000 projects, the question is, which 10 projects you will fund? And how will you choose? So, the problem is, Government of India should spend more money for research. They are not spending. See, the GDP, what we are spending on science and technology and research is a peanut, right? So we don't believe research is important. And you know what? Every income tax payer is paying something called as an education cess fund. Now, that has to be used for research. You know how much we pay? It all amounts to almost like 70 to 80,000 crores. Where does that money go? Why is that it is not coming back to the academicians for research? See, you are collecting, every income tax payer is paying 2 to 3% only for education and research. You know what they do? They took all the money, created IITs. Now they say every state will have an IIT. Every state will have a NIT. Finished. Money has been spent. This 50% of the money should have come to all, because the taxpayers are not paying money only to create IITs. There are so many students, so many colleges, so many institutions. We do not know where is a bright idea. We do not know who will come out with a wonderful solution. If you don't give an opportunity, which is a tragic situation, most believes, they don't believe only Harvard will do it or MIT will do it. They think anybody can solve the problem. They give an equal opportunity, right? So same thing should happen in this country. So what people should ask, there are so many such people, what the money that is coming to every institution? I think these are all very fundamental issues.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
So
sir.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Hello. So, how can a person go for a project proposal without any permanent position in any as a faculty or a scientist anywhere?
NGO.
Means,
No. You
Okay.
need not have to have any faculty or any position as a non. You can register yourself as an NGO.
Okay. Okay.
You have a degree, you have the qualification, and you are interested to do science. You can register as NGO. For NGO, you can get money from any part of the world. As an NGO, you have a right even to get dollars, either from Canada or from anywhere. So NGOs can get their work funded from any part of the world. So I would suggest all our academicians need not have to bother for having a job or things like that. You are qualified. You want to do work. You can become an NGO, create your own lab.
Okay.
I think that should happen. See, what happens is if you keep on depending only on government agencies, I don't know. So forget about that. I think people can, all educated, well qualified people can become an NGO, and the people, like the ladies, 5 or 6 of you can join together. You can form, you can take a theme, and you can throw a website. You can create an NGO organization. You say you are interested to take this problem and then address that problem and then find a solution. You will get money.
Okay. Thank you,
But
sir.
only, see, you have to put a lot of effort.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
you have. I'm Keshavulu here, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you have mentioned that actually UGC is funding for major and minor projects.
Right.
But for the past 3 years or so, I guess, I think there is no minor projects from UGC as well as major project funding from UGC. They stopped actually advertising also. Uh,
Yeah, you know what happened? I think most of the money that is supposed to be given to science research has all gone for Ganga cleaning.
okay. So I think they are not calling for any proposals now. For the past
See,
2-3 years, they stopped funding.
that's what I'm saying. You see, the problem is the Ministry of the Central Minister for Education, whatever you ask, you will not get the money. The money goes to defense or the money goes to some other place. See, that's a problem in India. See, India, the political system in India never believes education is important. That's a very, it's not good.
For defense purpose, they will have, they will allot money separately now, sir. Why should they transfer money from education to that?
You see, only if you take the money from any other sector, it will have an impact immediately. But if you move the money from education, who will find it out? So as he says, 3 years of which that University Grants Commission has not advertised for minor and major project. Is it right?
Yeah.
What
For the past 3 years, and
oh yeah, I mean, why? What for UGC is there then?
yeah.
See, the point is, University Grants Commission is the one which should help the colleges and the universities.
Yeah.
At least with a minimum money of 10 lakhs. See, they don't give a lot of money. At least 10 lakhs, you should give it to at least 1,000 to 5,000 people. See, the problem is today, the number of academicians are so many.
From colleges, the preference is given for university faculties only.
See, that is a problem. What I'm saying is all these things, they should define 1,000 projects for colleges. 1,000 projects. See, why can't they make it clear? See, if there, let me make it very clear. If there are 10,000 colleges, University Grants Commission should give 10,000 projects every year. At least one project per college.
One project for subject.
That's ideal.
Yeah. At least if they can give one project for college, it will be
How
fine.
can chemistry can compete with the maths or geography?
Wait. What I'm saying is even one project per college is not existing.
Yeah.
Right. I do agree with you, but if they give one project for college, I would say.
As Thiruvalluvar says, "Ulluvadellam uyarmullal, marchavai thallinum thallamai neethe." When we are asking for
No,
our right,
no, I agree with you.
ask more.
No, true, we can ask. Madam, we have no problem in asking. What I am saying is even this is not happening. All the vice chancellors of the universities, their job is going and represent to the University Grants Commission that enough and more money should be allotted for projects given at least 10 to 15 lakhs per college. It is their job. And they should not come to UGC. They should go to DST. Universities should not compete with the colleges with the UGC.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are absolutely right.
If they think they have expertise, they should go to DST and DBT. Why do they come to UGC? Why they are competing for 10 lakhs project? I think, see, these are the things, the vice chancellors, they're all politically appointed. They don't open their mouth. I mean, see, this is a problem. I think,
Education has become a business.
Unfortunately, that is what I'm saying. Today, what happens is everybody needs an encouragement. There are many people who will have brilliant ideas. And the question is giving them 5 or 10 lakhs is not a big deal. And unfortunately, in this country, we never made a system. In my opinion, everybody who has a PhD in the lifetime, he or she must be able to get at least 20 to 25 lakhs to implement our ideas, see whether it works or not. I think this is the minimum the country can do it for academicians. Without giving money, how can you do research? See, today research has become very expensive.
Very, very expensive.
Becoming expensive. I want to do molecular biology. I want to import chemicals. Without money, how can you do it? I cannot spend my money from my pocket. See, the problem is, I think somebody should build the cat. I think whatever happens in this country, we are not progressing well in education. We have not given uniform, equal opportunity to all. And it's not fair. But I used to shout and I used to always fight in all the funding agencies whenever I was sitting there. Even in DBT, I used to say in every meeting, at least 2 to 3 colleges must be funded. See, they may not be equal to IIT. They may not be equal to some university. So what? See, everybody needs a chance. See, we don't know. You give a project, maybe they come out with wonderful solutions. So I think I do agree with you. So I have the same opinion. I have the same feelings. But unfortunately, I have no powers to implement anything. That's why, but still, we should not stop doing research. Just because the government is not recognizing, just because the government is not funding, let us not stop research. Go for NGO, go for crowdfunding, go to university, who are all giving for CRS and try to apply for project, which is their company aim. So my interpretation is somehow we should learn to attract a grant. And I believe any bright idea will attract a crowdfunding. India has not tried it, I know that. But many Americans, they don't care. They don't apply for any funding agency. The same politics there. They will go for crowdfunding. There are a lot of rich people who want to fund. Try it. Question stop.
Over to you, Manas sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Few participants texted their questions in YouTube. Hence, we'll request Dr. Sridevi ma'am to start question and answer session.
Sir, may I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
it was very informative session, sir. So now I could have some questions like in the morning section, one participant asked that I sent many proposals to different funding agencies. Once I received from one organization, that NMHS, they sent a reply that send me again that next time. So what will be the answers now? Send
No.
proposal next time.
See,
They ask.
see, the point is, when a project is not funded, when they are giving some referee's comment, don't leave it. If you feel the referee's comments are irrelevant, the referee's comments are not really worthwhile, you answer it. What do? You ask the funding agency, can you please send me the referee's comments? Why my project is rejected? Now, because we don't do it, they were simply leaving it. Then we should give appropriate answers and see, we should make them to explain why they don't fund the project. See, simply they say it does not have novelty, you do not have a prior experience, all this kind of stuff. They should precisely say what do they mean by that, right? And even if it is not happening, they can represent the matter to HRD ministry only. Okay, they can say this is what it is. I have sent this project, and why is that this is happening? See, nobody protest, nobody record it, nobody asked the question why it is not happening. Because we don't ask, things are taken for granted. So today, whatever, there are a lot of agencies, they say how to write a project. There are a lot of agencies, what they say is, don't accept the result unless and otherwise they clearly explain. And whatever questions they asked, if they are genuine, if you think that they are right and you are not able to answer, you accept it. Otherwise, you say why it's not accepted.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question, sir.
Yeah.
From other participant, I have some. Can I know some agencies to submit funding for the art and management research scholars?
No, art and management, there is Department of Archaeology. Okay, which I forgot to again mention, there are a lot of international funding agencies. Right, Bill Gates, Ford Foundation. There are a lot of international funding agencies. For art and all social thing, they will easily get the money because these are the international funding who are really interested to preserve the art and culture and also the society structures in many parts of the world, right? So we should not just worry about only the funding agencies in India. There are a lot of international funding agencies. Only thing is you have to go through that and read it carefully. And then any bright idea will be sometimes, you will be really funded well by an international agency, right? So there are a lot of scope for arts and there are a lot of scope for traditional art and fine arts. Yeah. And there are a lot of agencies. Maybe when time permits, I will send some of these agencies where they can apply for project.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Sir, excuse me, sir. I have a question.
Yeah.
I have completed my PhD in 2015 and I am working as a faculty for past 4 years. May I eligible for startup grants, sir? Startup grants.
See, if you are a PhD, if you have, UGC, they say you must be applying the first year, but best thing you can go to DST. Yes. DST always gives a startup grant. You are eligible to go up to 25 lakhs, right? But you are a computer science graduate, right?
No, sir, microbiology.
Microbiology.
Specialization is phytomedicine.
Okay. See, today I tell you, if you want a project, you have to use the term artificial intelligence. Or you have to use the term like deep learning, machine learning, robot. See, do one thing. See how best you collaborate with a computer science person. Make a proposal of use of artificial intelligence in monitoring microbe of ecosystems. See, today people are only carried away by what is modern, or spend some time and understand how to make bacterial robotics. Can you make bacteria to behave like robots? Now, if you know how to make bacteria to behave like robots, all environmental cleaning operations, you can use bacteria. See, bacteria don't do the job what you want. Bacteria is doing whatever they want. Now, what is robotics here? Robotics here is making the bacteria to do the job what you want. So it becomes a robo. So robo is something, takes the command order from the boss. So you say, go and clean this sewage. Can you create bacterial robotics? So you have to study.
Yes, sir. I'll study regarding this topic, sir.
Yeah, why don't you spend some more time on that, and then take a computer science person with you, because they will say who has the artificial intelligence experience. See, the trick of the trade, collaborate with another person who has knowledge in artificial intelligence.
Yes,
Catch him.
Yes.
Put him as see, you have no choice, right?
Yes,
so if you want money, these are all the tricks. Once you have an artificial intelligent guy, now you have the biology background. Now you say how you can go for robotics, how you can make electronic monitoring. See, you have this. You have to do something different and new, which many people may not understand. Then you get a grant. That's what IIT is doing. You know what IIT is doing? IIT's jargon is, they say we use artificial intelligence. For example, all the hospitals, I'll give you another, now that you are a microbiologist, you have so much of hospital information in the digital format. Let us take an example of eye disease, leptospira. Now, can you get all the information in all the eye hospitals? How many people come from leptospira and to which area they belong, which age group, which gender? You take all these things, use artificial intelligence. Can you make a prediction? What will be the other which will leptospirosis?
Sure, sir. I'll study. I'll go through. Thank you for giving good ideas, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think you have to do something very different, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Over to you, Manasa.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our head Department of Biological Sciences, Dr. S.P. Ravikant sir, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Manasa. Before I start proposing vote of thanks, I would like to share a quote. If wrinkles were to appear on the forehead, let them not appear on the heart. The spirit should not grow old. This is for you, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank Professor Sambandam Shanmugasundaram for demonstrating his energy during the talk. People once retired would have a nap at this time. You have laid specific emphasis on selling the project proposal and influence on the decision makers. Something like bacterial robotics was something very new to majority of the people. Good objectives, innovative ideas, and what is the outcome of the problem? And most important, does the problem justifies the money and satisfies the taxpayers' money? So these are all some of the aspects that a person who intends to write a project proposal would seriously consider when they start writing their projects from now onwards. Your talk was crystal clear and so refreshing, and you dwelt upon various funding agencies. We were definitely aware of DSP, DBT, UGC, ICMR, and so on, but you dwelt upon NGOs and other funding agencies as well. And I'm pretty sure most of the people who attended today's FDPs will definitely have a glance at those funding agencies and try to grab some money for their projects. I am pretty sure there will be a rush at the funding agencies, with many good relevant projects, and I am sure we will see huge principal investigators getting very good projects. Romba Nandri, sir. I don't know much Tamil. I learned these two words.
No, thank you. Thank you.
I am pretty sure women like Dr. Nausheen Nazir will get sufficient grants in the form of women scientists and execute their projects. My sincere thanks to our beloved and dynamic principal, Dr. Asha Lata Madam, for all her support and encouragement. Thank you, Madam. Thanks to our UG and PG coordinator, Dr. Manohar, for all his support. I would like to express my thanks to Mrs. Shrivani and Munishankar. They belong to computer faculty, and probably we may talk to them something about artificial intelligence. And as you have very rightly mentioned, today we have a blended approach or an interdisciplinary approach where a bacterial scientist would interact with people like computer science. In fact, I teach English, and therefore I am interested in a topic called eco-criticism. We all know about ecology, how poets would look at the various aspects of nature when they write the research articles. As you have very rightly mentioned, you have to have a trick up your sleeve so that you can impress upon the decision makers. These are some of the points I am pretty sure would stuck to the minds of the principal investigators. You have brought all your experience into play, sir. Thank you very much once again.
Sir, I would like to add here, so we are very fortunate to listen to Sir's talk, and Shanmugha Sundaram sir, like, it was like, I was completely continuously telling it's a blessing to listen to Sir. So after a long time, I was able to listen to Sir's presentation. I probably never listened to you face to face, sir. I saw you over the Google, or I heard a lot about you, but, having a real-time experience of listening to you, always the resource person, people like Reverend, people like you set up standards, and also you give us confidence. Yes, everything is going to happen if we try for it with a proactive learning attitude. I think that is going to help us, and we'll take all your suggestions to put up, a kind of a good research proposal in future. A lot of them to come our way. Hope our faculty are ready for actually venturing and adventuring into that. And we wish that with all your suggestions and guidance, like we'll be able to approach some research projects and also apply for some research grants, hopefully and successfully. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your very valuable time and being with us here today, and all the teaching fraternity who would like to take up research to a different level, as you said, socially relevant, productive, as well as socially advantageous. Like it should be more doing more good for the people. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
As our principal madam has very rightly said, in our Department of Biological Sciences, all the faculties are doctors with good number of publications. Only in one area we look at touch vulnerable, that is, we are not in a position to get a grant to execute our ideas. I am pretty sure we will put that into action and we will get the grants. You will have all your ideas, and I am sure your blessings will be there. We will be communicating with you. Thank you for all your support and encouragement. Right. I would like to thank student coordinators, Manasa, Shailashri, Shravana Sundaramurthy, and Swati Ramchandran, and Mr. Mahesh for all their efforts in making this FDP a grand success. I thank our management for supporting us in all possible ways and making this event possible. I would like to thank the media team of Sri Vidya Niketan Educational Trust for designing brochures and e-certificates. Special thanks to my colleague Dr. Lekha Priya for inviting such an excellent speaker, and we all had the fantastic opportunity and we had a complete feast of it. Thanks, Amma. She worked day in and day out, contacted all the resource persons, and she alone made this event happen. I would like to thank the teaching and administrative staff for all their help and cooperation. And thanks one and all, and over to Manasa.
Thank you, sir. I thank all the participants for joining us today's session too. Over to Dr. Charles Lekhe Priya ma'am.
We were honored to have listened to your insightful speech on writing good research proposals for obtaining research grants from funding agencies, sir. On behalf of all gathered here, our heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for sharing your experiences and motivating all of us in writing good research proposals for funding agencies. Once again, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and spending your valuable time in sharing your immense knowledge with all of us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dear participants, we appreciate you for your interest in learning and for your participation in 2 sessions of today's FDP. Tomorrow, session 3 starts at 10 a.m. sharp. I request all the participants to log in with the same credentials. We are looking forward for a great session tomorrow. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir. I am ending this session, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Sir, thank you so much. Thank you for your frank, open talk.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.